Hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Jensen Liviana Tevilus from Group 12. Now, I'm going to talk about one of the most famous Japanese culture, the kimono. Of course, to explain the kimono, I'm not alone. I will get help by a couple of my friends, Elizabeth, Albert, Shirley, and Valentina. There is a couple of topics that we will discuss in this video: history of kimono, fascinating fact about kimono, function and type of kimono, and last but not least, an explanation about men and women kimono. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Hello Miss, my name is Adelita Faustin with name 192000165. Next, I will discuss about the history of kimono. Kimono is a traditional clothing from Japan, which literally means clothes or something worn. Kimonos first appeared during the Heian period from 794 to 1192, where in the previous area, namely the Nara period in 710 to 794, Japanese people still wore a separate set of clothes or overalls called kosu. With the development of the times and fashion, Japanese people began to think about creating more attractive-looking kimonos with various colors. Kimono making is known as the straight line cut method because the fabric is cut in a straight line which is then sewn together. During the Kamakura period, 1192 to 1338, and the Muromachi period from 1338 to 1537, the kimono has become a garment used in everyday life, and kimono colors have been created with various Japanese colors combination for both men and women. During the Edo period, 1603 to 1868, the craftsmanship of kimono makers improved and made the kimono develop into a luxurious work of art, so that some kimonos produced by artists are priced much more expensive than the kimonos owned by ordinary people. Because of that, Japanese people began to keep their kimonos as one of the valuable items and give it to family members from generation to generations as an inheritance. Then, during the Meiji period from 1868 to 1912, the popularity of the kimono began to decline. This happened because the way of wearing kimono was impractical and took a long time, and at that time, Japan had begun to be influenced by foreign cultures that entered, where government officials and military personnel are required by law to wear Western clothing for official purpose. Even so, in this day and age, kimonos are still often used by Japanese people on certain occasions such as festivals, tea ceremonies, weddings, funerals, and so on. And finally, I will discuss the pro and contra statements. The pro statement is, currently, kimonos are more often worn on certain occasions in Japan. Even so, kimonos are still typical Japanese clothes, because in my opinion, if kimono is used for everyday life, Japanese people will find it more difficult to carry out various activities. And the contra statement is, Japan should not be influenced by foreign cultures that cause the kimono's popularity to decline over time, thus causing kimonos to be rarely worn today and may be forgotten in the future. That's all my presentation about the history of kimono. Thank you!
Hello Miss Andari and friends, I'm Elizabeth Natalie. I want to explain about fact interesting of the kimono. The kimono is traditional Japanese garment and the national dress of Japan. The kimono is wrapped front garment with square sleeve and a rectangular body, and is worn left side wrapped over right. Unless the wearer is discreet, the kimono is traditional worn with a broad S held on obi and is commonly worded accessories such as sorry sandals and baby socks. Kimono ranges in variation from extremely formal to very casual. The formality is determined mostly by pattern placement, decoration style, fabric choice, and color, and by the accessories and obi worn with the kimono. The formality levels of different types of kimono are a relative modern invention, having been developed between late Meiji to post-war Japan, following the abolition of Edo period sanctuary clothing laws in 1868. The laws changed constantly, as did the strictness which they enforced and were enforced and were designed to keep the rich middle class from dressing above their station and appearing better their dress than moderately poor but status rich samurai class. Color were restricted. For instance, indigo. This clothing was allowed for all classes.
Hello Miss, good morning. My name is Albert Putra Pratama for 4th PHP 51. Today I will explain about type and function of kimono. Okay, the first type of kimono is korotemesode. Korotemesode, which means black kimono with tiny sleeve. This kimono is worn by married women. Korotemesode kimonos are often worn at traditional wedding reception and very formal occasion. Below here is an example of the kimono. And the second is furisode. Furisode is the most formal kimono for young unmarried women. Bring colorful material with skirting motif all over the fabric. Furisode is worn when attending a senji shiki ceremony, attending a friend wedding reception, and graduation ceremony. And below here is example of furisode kimono. And the next, humogi. Humogi is formal kimono for women, married or unmarried. The hallmark of humogi is a motif throughout the fabric, front and back. Humogi is used as a guest for wedding reception, tea ceremony, or celebrating the New Year. Below here is an example of the humogi kimono. And the next is common. Common is a casual kimono for married or unmarried women. The hallmark of this type of kimono is a simple motif and repeat small size. Common is worn to attend a reunion party, dinner, meet out with friends, or watch a show in building. Below here is an example of the common kimono. And the next is montsuki. Montsuki is a formal kimono worn by men. The back of montsuki is decorated with the weird family crest. The suit is only worn when attending very formal ceremony, such as a reception for the word of the emperor or government. Below here is an example of the montsuki kimono. And the last is kanagashi. Kanagashi is an informal kimono for men, and men wear kanagashi as daily wear or when going out on informal occasion. This type of kimono is not decorated with the family crest. Below here is an example of kanagashi kimono. Thank you, Miss, for listening to my presentation, and the next slide will be presented by my friend.
Kimono for boys and girls. There are several types of kimono that are commonly used by both men and women. The most formal kimono is a black motsuki suit with a hakama. The back of the motsuki is decorated with the wearer's family crest. A motsuki suit worn with the hakama and haori is a traditional groom's attire. This suit is only worn when attending very formal ceremonies such as a reception for a word of the emperor or government or shiki approval. 2. Kimono relaxed kinagashi. Men wear kinagashi as a daily wear or when going out on informal occasions. Kabuki actors wear them when practicing. This type of kimono is not decorated with a family crest. 3. Sugumi. Sugumi is a casual kimono for everyday wear at home by married or unmarried women. However, this type of kimono can be worn for going out such as when shopping and walking. 4. Yukata. Yukata is a casual kimono made from thin cotton fabric without lining for casual occasion in summer. Hearing the word kimono will definitely remind us of the land of a million cherry blossoms. Traditional clothing in Japan is always used by the people until now. Kimono is not just traditional dress, but also used by Japanese people in festivals or curtain celebrations such as weddings, graduations, and others. 1. Color. Kimono difference in men and women can be seen from the color. Women's kimonos tend to have a wider variety of vibrant colors, such as red, pink, and purple, while men's kimonos have a subtle and dark colors such as black, brown, navy, and gray. 2. Pattern. Men's kimonos have a standard patterns, and not many patterns. Usually only the common found in formal kimonos. Meanwhile, women's kimonos have a patterns that are more prominent and relate the nature, such as flowers, leaves, or tree. However, there are also some kimonos that have more modern pattern. Hakama or short pants. Men's and women's kimonos are usually just 1 or 2 layers of fabric. In men's kimonos, they also use hakama or pants that are under the kimono fabric. Women generally rarely use hakama when wearing a kimono. Obi or belt. Men's obi are thinner, with subtle colors and patterns, while the woman's obi is thicker with a variety of colors and patterns. The way woman's obi is tied is also more decorative than men. Obi in women are tied like flowers or butterflies on their backs. The collar of the men's kimono is not too wide, whereas in young men, the collar is not sometimes wider to show off the shape of the neck. Older or married women tend to have simpler kimonos without paying too much attention of the neckline. That's the difference between men's and women's kimono.
Conclusion. The kimono is a traditional Japanese clothing that appeared in the Heian period in 749 until 1192, and during the period of Kamamura in 1192 until 1339, and the Mumorichi period in 1338 until 1537. Kimono were used for daily life, and as time went by, more varied and more interesting kimonos appeared. So, during the Edo period in 1603 until 1868, the kimono evolved and became a luxurious work of art. And some kimonos had high selling point. From here, the Japanese people began to take care of their kimonos and give their kimonos to other family members. There is a law regulating kimonos where poor people can have the same kimonos as rich people. However, during the Meiji period from 1868 until 1912, the popularity of the kimono began to go too low because Japan has started to be influenced by foreign cultures. However, for now, the kimono is still used by Japanese people at a certain times. And the fact of the matter is that kimonos do not just have one type. It turns out that kimonos have a couple of classes based on the function. The first is kuro metsode, means the black kimono with tightened sleeves for women who have already get married. Second is furisode, a type of formal kimonos for a young woman that hasn't gotten married. These kimonos have a colorful motif. Third is humogini, formal kimonos for married or unmarried women. These kimonos have motif all over the kimonos. And fourth, common kimonos, casual kimonos for married or unmarried women. These kimonos have a simple motif. And fifth, yukata kimonos, brightly made of thin cotton. These kimonos are perfect for the summertime. Sixth, monsuki kimonos, kimonos formal for men, and on the back of the kimono there's a family symbol. And the last, 7, kinagashi, just usual casual kimonos for daily use. Next, there is also the fascinating fact about the kimonos. First, the color of the kimonos is adjusted to the season of Japan. And Japan has 4 seasons, so you should have 4 types of the kimonos to suit the Japan season. Second, kimono is a traditional dress for every formal or informal event. Japanese people have various kinds of kimonos which will be used for multiple types of events. Third, yukata. Yukata is a kimono that can be used by both men and women, usually during the summer season. Fourth, the kimono has a really simple meaning which means wearing things. And fifth, there's a different kimono size for men and women. Men can wear a kimonos with a width of about 40 cm and most women wear it with a width about 38 cm. Sixth, kimonos have been around for a long time. They appeared in the Heian period in 749. 7. As time went by, kimonos got simpler and easier to use. And 8. Kimonos used to made of silk, which is a very expensive material. So that's why in the past only rich people could wear a kimonos. And last but not least, kimono have many design patterns. So people can change their kimono design pattern if they get bored. Here are also some accessories that are used to complement when we are wearing a kimono. First is geta. Geta is one of the accessories that is always used when we wear a kimono. The geta is a traditional Japanese footwear made of wood. Geta is not only used when we are wearing a kimono. Geta is also provided in onsen or hot spring or ryokan, traditional inn, for their guests. Because it is made of wood, geta usually will make a sound when getting used. Next, kansashi. Kansashi are head or hair accessories that are almost always used by women in kimono, especially bridge, geisha, geiko, tayu, and yujo. This kanji is made of cloth with flower shape. Next is obi. Obi is an accessory that you must wear when you're wearing a kimono. Obi is a belt made of cloth, which is usually wrapped around the waist and formed into a ribbon. Obi has a length of about 3 until 4 meters. And next is kinchaku. Kinchaku is a small bag with the same function as any other bag, such as saving money, putting your makeup inside the bag, and etc. Okay, I think that would be all, and I'm sorry if there are any mistakes. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.